A quick word to parents. This week's content deals with death and what happens to us after death according to Catholic teaching. Although I try to deal with these topics in a kid-friendly way, if you have any hesitations, I encourage you to listen to the episodes before turning them on for your family. You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith. Hey Sprouts, today is Wednesday, October 31st, 2018. It's also, as you probably know, Halloween, or All Hallows Eve, meaning the eve of a great feast day, All Saints' Day, which is tomorrow. This week on the Catholic Sprouts podcast, we have been talking about death and what happens after we die. First, we talked about why we face death and what will happen afterwards. Next, we talked about the reality of hell and what we can expect at final judgment. Today, we are going to talk about purgatory. Now, purgatory is a place that we as Catholics believe in, while other Christian faiths do not believe in. And let me tell you this, my friend, I am so happy that we believe in purgatory. Now, what is purgatory? When we die, we either can go to heaven or hell. We go to hell if we have completely disconnected ourselves from God and turned our back on Him completely. We go to heaven if we are completely united with God and ready to stand in His presence. However, for many of us, we won't fall clearly into either of those categories. We lived a good life, but it wasn't perfect. And in many ways, we aren't quite ready to stand in the presence of God, at least not yet. So God has a third place to send us, and that is purgatory. Purgatory is a place where our soul is purified so that we will be able to go to heaven one day. In fact, all souls in purgatory are promised heaven, but just not quite yet. Now, why is this such a beautiful teaching in our Catholic faith? It's beautiful because it reminds us that our God is merciful and that our God sees our attempts even if they aren't 100% successful. It can be really hard to live a good life. We all know that. We try to pray regularly. We try to be kind to those people that are annoying us. We try not to get so wrapped up in money and material goods. We try and we fail. But God doesn't say, you failed, you don't get to get into heaven. God says, let me help you rub away those rough edges. Let me help you be purified in spirit so that you can come to heaven. Our God is a wonderful and merciful God. Now, in truth, most people, when they die, will probably end up in purgatory. Of course, we don't know this for sure because death is the great mystery. But this is probably true. Most people will end up in purgatory for some time. And so then there is a responsibility that we must take up, Sprouts, and that is the responsibility to pray for those who have died. Those who are in purgatory, they need support while they work through the purification process. And God also hears our prayers and frees those from purgatory more quickly if they are supported with our prayers. And so, Sprouts, here is my challenge for you today. I want you to think through your family and friends who have died. I want you to make a list of those names, and then every single day, I want you to pray for those people by name. Maybe they're in heaven already. Maybe they're in purgatory. It's always better to assume they're in purgatory so that we can continue to support them with prayers. So write their names down and pray for their souls every single day. That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God intended you to be. One final word to the grown-ups. Thank you so much for listening to the Catholic Sprouts podcast. I would like to invite you to join a special Facebook group just for those that listen to the Catholic Sprouts podcast. We will use this group to connect, to share resources around that week's theme, and simply celebrate raising future saints. To find the direct link to the Facebook group, simply check the notes for this podcast episode.